It's an open way of doing it.
Yeah, so we kind of have those three major things, right? We need to know if the value of our gold coins are what the people are saying they are. And then we have the kind of like safety and security combination things, right? It's a pain to carry around a bunch of gold coins, and we're at the risk of being robbed, right? So those three things really kind of cover the main issues that come out of the gold being a form of currency. And of course, we come up with a solution with that naturally as a society. And that comes in the form of goldsmiths. So goldsmiths, I guess if you don't know what I mean by that, are the people who were minting these gold coins. So creating the gold coins in the first place. So they would kind of melt down this gold, and they
Smithies,
they would kind of form the golds into these coins based off of the weight that they're supposed to be. And the kind of one of the things that you've probably seen it on all of our currencies today. This is kind of the history of this, of why we have our coin, or our currencies have images and things like that on it. So something that you'll find on any currency today is the value of that currency, and then some kind of image that kind of authenticates it, right? And that really comes out of the goldsmithing era, right? So goldsmiths, whether it be a local goldsmith or a goldsmith that worked for whatever, the Emperor of Rome type of situation, it doesn't really matter. It's the exact same situation where it's like, I'm stamping what the value of this is. So how much in weight, so to speak. And then maybe on the other side, I'm putting some kind of ornate image, right? In the case of the Roman Empire type of thing, you would have maybe the emperor's face on it, because it's like, this is a valid currency within the Roman Empire type of situation.
Trajan's face on him.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. In more kind of non-empire situations where it's just maybe city-states and stuff like that, and a little bit more free-for-all in terms of the goldsmithing is not centralized, which a lot of that was the case in the beginning. You would have maybe that goldsmith, like, so if I was the goldsmith, I would kind of create a little image that I would want to put on all my gold coins, so that you would know that if you saw a gold coin with this image on it, whatever that may be, you would know that gold coin belongs to Braden's goldsmithing.
Which is, like, in this case, we would say this is a legitimate goldsmither, so you know you're getting.
Well, yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up. So what happens is that, like, in terms of like kind of solving some of the issues that we already had, right? So one of the issues we said was, how do we know if the value of this gold is what it is, right? And reputation is really the way that we kind of solved that, because it wasn't easy to be like, okay, everyone's just going to have a scale now, right? Like, that's just not going to be a reality.
It's not feasible.
Yeah, especially back then, and I don't even think it would be feasible now. So instead, what happened is that a goldsmith would earn the reputation of be like, no, if I get a Braden's gold piece,
stamp,
the coin, like a gold coin with Braden's name on it, so to speak, I can trust that is going to be what it says it is, right?
Illegitimate,
So that's kind of one part of it, and kind of in connection with that, of course, over time, images become more and more ornate and kind of intricate, to make sure that people can't kind of copy them, right? You don't want people taking your image and just putting it on kind of
anything,
lower quality, craftsmanship, just so that they can kind of cut their gold in that sense, to make it stretch the value, if that makes sense. So that was one side of it. Then the other side, of course, was that safety and security piece. So as goldsmiths, I would have to bring in a bunch of gold. Maybe I don't know, however I'm bringing that in, whether it's just my job and I get it, or I own a gold mine, however, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But because I'm the person who melts down that gold and mints it into coins, I'm going to be storing a lot of gold at a given period of time. So I myself have a lot of safety and security issues. Now, I'm not walking around necessarily with that gold, but I have to store it somewhere. And I need the safety and security to know that that gold is not going to be stolen no matter what.
Yeah.
And so what happens is, because of that, I had to create vaults, or I had to get armed guards and security and take all these different measures to make sure that my gold was safe, right? So that I can continue my business as a goldsmith.
Correct.
And so everyday people, what they would do is, eventually goldsmiths kind of offered this as a bit of a service, is that they would store your gold for you. So if Jordan would come to me and he would say, hey, I have some gold that I'd like to deposit with you. Can you keep this safe for me? Maybe it's for a little fee, right? That, like, whatever, I have 10 coins, you can keep one. I don't know, that might be an extreme valuation, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you would store your gold with me and I would keep it safe, and now I would you wouldn't have to walk around with your gold, so that's great. You could come back to me and get your gold whenever you needed it.
Being robbed.
Yeah, you don't have to keep it in your own house, which, let's be honest, back in the day, that's not a lot of home security aspects.
Yes.
That doesn't exist. And then the other kind of part that kind of comes out of this is that, when you deposit your gold with a goldsmith, the goldsmith would write you a receipt, right? Because, of course, it's hard to keep track of all the gold that
Correct.
everyone comes to me and brings me a bunch
You
of gold.
come back
You need to
with
know
your note showing how much you have so they can remember
Correct.
to go.
So
get
it's
your
like,
stuff.
I write down Jordan and I say he deposited this amount on this day, and I certify it as Braden, and blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
So Jordan has this piece of paper that tells him, okay, it's like balancing your checkbook almost type of situation, right? It's your bank statement. So you know what you have in your deposited with me specifically. So the neat kind of thing that kind of comes out of that, just to close the door on it, that solves kind of those main issues, those three issues that we were kind of talking about already.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, correct.
The safety and security stuff, the how do you value things, all that kind of stuff. So gold becomes a pretty stable currency in that sense, right?
For quite a while.
So that's great. Yeah, for quite a while. But it's not too long that after, which we kind of maybe have alluded to, is that